Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning! Happy Thursday morning, everybody. I hope everybody is having a fabulous day. We have updates, new information. Omid Scobie's head has popped up. Oh my goodness. And then I'm going to go back and explain again how I feel about liars. And I'm going to show you guys, once again, I brought you all my videos, video proof. So let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with Queen Camilla this morning. She visited a fish shop at Balatar. Now, these pictures you're looking at are off of the Instagram account. Those fish are actually created from wood and hanging from wires. Very artistic and beautifully done. But they initially went to visit the shop in April. King Charles and Queen Camilla did, So I don't know if the fish shop was open back in April, or if it was just being built, or if maybe it wasn't officially opened, because the Instagram account of this place put up a note that said, you know, we welcome the Queen to officially open our fish store. And they said that she met the artists and people who created the fish that are hanging, as well as, you know, kitchen staff and other people who work there. I love what the Queen is wearing. I love that color on her. She looks so nice. I'm going to guess from these pictures that Charles did not go with her this time. Of course, she did all the obligatory stuff. She met people. She unveiled a plaque. The tartan that she's wearing on the bottom, here's the design up close, was worn also as a wrap on her shoulders. Very nice touch. According to this Twitter user, she wore this outfit on a previous engagement in Scotland several years ago. But yeah, I love her outfit. She looks wonderful. Moving on. Next up, King Charles has rearranged his state visit to France. We already know that he's going to go with Queen Camilla on September 20th for a 3-day visit. And the king is going to address the French Senate. Actually, let's take a look really quick at what all is scheduled, because there's a lot. While Charles and Camilla are in Paris, they will go to a service of remembrance and a wreath laying. Then the king is going to have a meeting with the president at the palace. Then the king and queen will be guest of honors at a state banquet hosted at the Palace of Versailles. That's exciting. They will meet community sports groups and sports stars. The king is going to address the senators and members of the National Assembly at the French Senate. And the Queen and Mrs. Macron are going to launch a new literary prize, which I think is fabulous. And King Charles is going to attend a sustainability reception for British and French business leaders to hear more about their plans to invest to protect biodiversity. Love it. Now, when they get to Bordeaux, the king is going to meet emergency workers and communities affected by the wildfires. Then King Charles and Queen Camilla will both meet UK and French military personnel. And then they will attend a great campaign event which shows British and French businesses and provides an opportunity for them to meet members of the French and British communities that live there. And then they are going to go to an organic vineyard, which has a sustainable approach to winemaking. Yum. Moving on, you guys, William and Catherine are going to be leading a national tribute for Queen Elizabeth on the 8th. And so I will not be discussing Harry and Meghan on the 8th. Nobody else will that gives two rips about the Queen either. We're just not going to discuss them. So, but I'm going to do some good videos about what's going on. So I hope I'll see you then. Moving on. Next up, we're going to touch on this article really quickly because Robert Jobson wrote that Harry hates that Prince Charles took drastic measures after his son quit royal life in 2020 and basically stripped him of his honorary, keep in mind, honorary military titles, including Commodore in Chief of Small Ships and Diving. He was the honorary Air Commandant of the Royal Air Force. He was Captain General of the Royal Marines. Those titles were given to him by Queen Elizabeth II, but were taken when he officially stepped down. And Mr. Jobson is saying he just hates the idea that he's not Captain General of the Royal Marines anymore. Now, I totally agree with this Twitter user. I'm surprised Robert Jobson made that mistake because it was the Queen's decision to remove his titles, not Charles's decision. That was all done when the Queen was alive. And I completely agree with Taz. He made the decision to go to Disney, where he was filmed trying to get Meghan voiceover work with the Disney CEO instead of attending the memorial service for the 11 Marines that were killed. And as Captain General of the Royal Marines, that's where he should have been, not caught on camera hawking a job for his wife. Oh, Omid Scooby-Doo has put out a notification today that his book called The Endgame is going to be released on November 21st. So what does he do? He decides to give a little sneak peek of the title of the first 9 chapters. Now, I've told you guys before, I will take a bet that Harry and Meghan absolutely helped him write some of this book. Absolutely. Remember, he held back on the release to get information about Harry going to the coronation, okay? The names of the chapters give you an idea of what is really going on here. You have the Queen and her piper. I zoom in for you here. Shaky ground, the Queen is dead. Oh God, I hate this. Remembrance of things past. Baggage, the lingering trials of King Charles, the fall of Prince Andrew, race and the royals, gloves on, gloves off. Like, really? It's pretty obvious that this book is nothing but another hatchet job on the royal family. Remember, Harry and Meghan have moved on. They're not going to talk about the royals anymore. What they're going to do is let everybody else do it for them, and this is a prime example, and I won't be buying it. Moving on. All right, now we're going to go back and we're going to do an update on this whole, Beyonce thing. Okay, here we go. So I had to notice this Twitter user pointed out that, or they're claiming that Meghan had to beg Kelly Rowland and Kerry Washington for a photo. Now, there were a lot of stars there, a lot. And no other photos of Meghan with any of these stars has come to light. Like none that I've seen. The Kardashians, Bezos, the billionaire, his girlfriend, none of them. Now, it's being suggested that what happened was this. These 2 young ladies were standing together, taking a picture, and that's Meghan's arm on the right side, and that she waited until the picture was over, and then she went up and asked, "Can I take a picture with you guys?" And so then they stood there and took a picture together. Now, the interesting part is that Kerry Washington posted all of the photos that you're looking at on her Instagram account. She did not put up a picture of herself with Meghan Markle. Interesting. Of all the people she took pictures with, she didn't do that. Now, this Twitter user thinks that Kerry Washington was paid by Harper's Bazaar to take the picture because it was placed on Harper's Bazaar's Instagram account. Very interesting. You never know. One hand washes the other in that world. You know what I mean? And a different Twitter user said that they thought it was done as a favor for a friend who's going to be part of her her book tour, because again, no other celebrities took a picture with her. It's a groupie thing, and you would think they'd grown out of that groupie stage. Apparently not. So as you can see, Meghan made it into that one section. That's that billionaire guy on the left. And listen, she went to a concert, good for her. But the problem that people are having is the fact that she's sitting with the Netflix CEO during the strike that's going on, where apparently he's being denying fair rights to thousands of writers and actors. But apparently Meghan doesn't care about that. I think Meghan forgets. I think she feels like she owns Beyonce in that set. Does that make sense what I'm saying? She's completely forgotten that when Beyonce was still with that group Destiny's Child, she's met King Charles, and she's met him other times as well. And she's met up with Catherine and William before. Nobody, I think, has a real problem with the royals. At least not until she came along. Next up, I have an update for you on Spotify. We are well aware that they fudged their numbers, and they kept saying Archetypes was a top podcast, even though the numbers clearly showed that it wasn't. Well, now, come to find out, they are losing money hand over fist. We know they've had to lay people off. Listen, they made big deals with big people, but they didn't pay Harry and Meghan the $20 million. They didn't make that money because they didn't hit the metrics. So, yes, they've lost money right and left, and yes, they've had to lay off people, but that's their fault for cutting a deal with people who had no experience in podcasts and really no interest in working. They want the money, they want the fame, they want the glory. They don't want to put in the work. To be fair, I got to be honest. I see the exact same thing happening with Netflix. I think when their contract is up, Netflix will not be renewing. I think that'll be the end. They have a metric to meet on Netflix, just like Spotify. There's no way that Netflix would have signed a deal with two people who had no experience without putting that in. Their show did not make the top 10. Their Live to Lead did not make the top 10. And I have a feeling this next project is going to be a bomb too. Moving on. All right, now we have an update. Now, I told you yesterday that Harry was seen sitting in that box with venture capitalist Alan Lilling. I hope I'm saying that right. He is also he has money in Better Up, and apparently they've been collaborating with this guy for several months, put together by Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, and what he does is he takes people that he thinks can, I don't know, sell stuff online, and he puts them together with the products, and that's how he makes his money. There you go. I guess my point is I wouldn't buy anything that this guy who admits to using drugs would sell. I wouldn't use any of his stuff. I wouldn't use anything that Meghan was pushing. Why do people think that if they list it, it'll sell? I think it'll have the opposite effect. All right, let's go. Okay, here we go. Remember, Harry the Eco Warrior has to fly from the United States to the UK. Then he's going to fly from the UK to Germany. Then he's going to take a private helicopter from the Invictus Games in Dusseldorf to a sports studio where he's going to discuss the Invictus Games. I'm so sick of hearing about what an eco warrior he is because it's a joke. He's going to be interviewed about the event, the Invictus Games, and I'm sure he's going to wax on about his mother in it. But interesting thing, when he arrives in Germany on Saturday morning, and I will be interested to see if the German taxpayers are paying again for his flight, he has to go to the Dusseldorf Town Hall where he's going to sign a book that's reserved just for VIP guests. Can you believe this? I mean, this is a joke. They're probably going to cordon off the streets again. Ugh, Lord. The first thing they should do when he walks off the plane is frisk him for drugs, because taking drugs internationally could get you arrested. All right, moving on. Sliding into the end here, you guys know how I feel about liars. I've told you before, once you're caught in a lie, it's over for me. You are untrustworthy, especially if you lie under oath. But do you guys remember when Harry said this?
In the Oprah interview, you accuse members of your family of racism. You don't even...
No, we didn't.
Well,
the British press said that.
Right.
Did Meghan ever mention that they were racist?
She said there were troubling comments about
There was concern about his skin colour.
Right. Wouldn't you describe that as essentially racist?
I wouldn't.
So just to lay it all on the table, here are just some, not all, but some of the comments that Harry and Meghan made during the Oprah interview. You know, the one where they never called anybody racist. Mm-hmm.
Did you leave the country because of racism?
It was a large part of it.
The first member of color in this family not being titled in the same way that other grandchildren would be.
Racism, really. I mean, it changed the risk level. And if a member of his family will comfortably say, we've all had to deal with things that are rude. Rude and racist are not the same. Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
There is a conversation. Hold up.
There are
Stop
several
right now.
there are several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
with Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh.
And what I was seeing was history repeating itself, but more perhaps, or definitely far more dangerous, because then you add race in. And the specifics around her race?
Because this was different, you know.
It's different because of the race.
Growing up as a woman of color, as a little girl of color, I know how important representation is.
Over 70 members of parliament, female members of parliament, both Conservative and Labour, came out and called out the colonial undertones of articles and headlines written about Meghan.
So when you see this interview where he says, we never called the British people, the press, or the royal family racist, it was the British press who did that. And now you know he is as much of a liar as she is. Well, I think they've both got mental issues, but there you go. So there you go, my friends. You know what I'm looking for. Write those comments down. Make them good. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you've already hit the button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget to go into the description box and get the link to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my physical address. And for those of you who've donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.